Hello, hello. My name is Jamie, and I live in the southeast corner of Wyoming. If you've been here, welcome. If you haven't, welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking to you and working on some frogs. The pattern is by Crochet Vision. She has a website, and she's also on YouTube. So this is basically kind of what I'm making. In the pattern, you get the pattern for frogs as well as for crabs. So far, I've made like 4 or 5 of these. I'm working on a skein of yarn that has seen better days. I've ripped it up because it was a multicolored like Bernat with long colorways, and one of the colorways was just basically disintegrating, and that was just not cool at all. I was pretty unhappy about that. So this is the green, kind of the lime green that came in this particular skein of yarn that I tore up. It had some brown, it had a light blue and also a dark blue. So that's what I'm working on today. I should talk about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my shirt that I was working on for Wednesday. I finished it early this morning, so I thought I'd wear it. It is made out of Lion Brand Mandala, and the color is Groot. I used 2.5 cakes of the Lion Brand Mandala, and then I also used a skein of the Karen Simply Soft in bright green. Oh, hello. Looks like someone joined us. This is kind of the frogs that I'm going to be working on. The pattern is by Crochet Vision, and she does have a website. She also, sorry, we have company. She also has a YouTube channel, and she is someone that I do like to watch. I hope that you're doing well and you're hunkered down and you're warm. I finally got warm after taking my shower this morning. We still have like blizzarding conditions going on right now, but that's supposed to kind of move through here fairly quickly. And I'm one of those people that I'd rather be a house hobbit and stay inside rather than, go be a snow bunny. But there's plenty of stuff to do in Wyoming if you want to be outdoors, no matter what the season is. So I tore up an old Bernat blanket. Pretty sure it was a Bernat blanket that is had multiple colors, but one of them was pretty much disintegrating. And so I tore it up so that I could get just the colors that I wanted for frogs. And I'm happy with the pattern. I don't have it memorized yet, but I've made 4 or 5 or 6 frogs already. And it's pretty easy. I think pretty much anybody could pick up the pattern. And if they have the right yarn and the right hook, they could, do it fairly quickly. What else? This was the big project that I finished this week. I was thinking it was going to take me quite a while to get it done, which is why I said I wanted to have it done by February 15th. However, it's done today. I got it done this morning, and I'm pretty happy with it. It is a nice length. I think that I'll really enjoy it this summer, because I plan on being outside this summer. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. That is my plan. We have a guest here today, my mom's boyfriend. So you might hear the dogs bark, or you might hear the doors open and close. But that's life. That's just, part of living. I think he came over to help shovel our walks, because we have an ordinance that you have to keep your walks shoveled. And if you don't, you could get fined. So Marty's been very kind and has come over and helped us do that. And of course, my dog Humphreys loves Marty, and just goes nuts when Marty comes over because he's just so excited that his friend came to see him. I have a few other like skeins-ish of like Bernat. I have like this one is called Vintage White. So it's a little off-white. I have a full white that is like bright white. And then I have this one that has blues and a little bit of the brown and then white in it. And I have two of those. So I'm thinking that would be really good for making like a horse, or maybe even a unicorn. I still am working on my box of yarn here. I don't have it emptied out yet, but it is getting less. I've gone through several skeins of Karen's Simply Soft. And then I've also gone through several, I finished up the Feels Like Butter. I went through 3 skeins of that. I've gone through, like I said, 2 skeins of the Lion brand Mandala. I have also gone through, I think, 3 full skeins of Bernat, just because I feel like getting stuff done, so I'm more productive right now. And I really like working through the yarn and getting things done. What else? Oh, and then I've also been working on my scrap blanket. So when I have scraps that are small that wouldn't like make other things, or I don't want to make other things with it, I put my scraps on to this little blanket, and it'll grow over time. And that's just going to be my scrap blanket for here at the house, especially when it gets like really cold at nighttime. Even though we pull the curtains and the blinds, and we have the heat on, it still can get pretty chilly. But I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I'm still saying prayers for everyone that has, that is dealing with all of the destruction from Mother Nature and just life in general. Hello and welcome to our new people. My name is Jamie, and this is Knit Until I Die. I am a knitter and crocheter out of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I am working on a frog pattern by Crochet Vision, and this is what it's gonna look like. It needs the eyes put on, but I'm gonna glue those on, and so I'm gonna do kind of a mass gluing event later on when I'm ready. I have a box of plushies that I'm making, and when I get done, I'm going to give them all eyes, and if they need whiskers, I'll do that. Because I kind of like to batch that stuff, like when I'm sewing in my ends and stuff, because I'm notorious for not liking to sew in my ends and like waiting forever. And that's something that I am working on for this year. I am trying to be way better about sewing in my ends And I have been, my last live, that's what I worked on, was sewing in ends. But I am doing it. 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's making life a little bit easier, even though it's not something that I enjoy. I used to ask mom to sew in my ends when I was younger, but I've gotten better about doing it myself. I don't know about you guys, but it's like the bane of my existence. However, since I've been working on it, I've been keeping my scissors, as well as 2 different needles. I like the bent needles. And then I also, for larger plushies, I don't need it for the frogs, but for larger plushies, I really like this larger, longer needle. You can get them off of Amazon, or you can get them off of, like from, well, I haven't seen them at Walmart, but I have seen them at Hobby Lobby. I haven't been to our Joann's in like forever because of where it's at in the mall. Because I have to actually walk through, you have to walk through other stores to get to it. And that's not something that I would like to do. But mom and I have been there before. It's just not something that we like to, I don't know. It's not somewhere that we go very often. And it's somewhere that I don't know, it's just hard to get to. There's other Joann's like down in Fort Collins that are so much easier to get to. It's just interesting that they sometimes make it hard to get to different stores. I know that they have announced that Joann's is, going through another bankruptcy, but it sounds like they're not going to close my store anytime soon. And it doesn't seem like my store, anyways, is having really big sales. Maybe they will soon. I don't know. Let's see here. And I don't know. Mom tends to be the one that goes shopping anymore, like at the mall and Walmart. Those are 2 places I just really don't like to go to, mainly because of all the people. I like people at a distance. I don't do well in big crowds. Even though Cheyenne is a capital city, and I know it's not that big, still you still run into lots of people. And I've lived here for most of my life. I've had a few excursions to other places, but for the most part, I've lived here, and it's definitely different. It's a, even though it's a capital city, it's really a small town kind of vibe. In most places, but like if you go to the mall or you go to Walmart, you notice that it's more, there's just more people hanging around. So you can hear Humphreys probably in the background complaining. My mom's boyfriend is here, and he's been shoveling the walks. And I'm pretty sure that Humphreys is just excited for him to come back in the house. Because when Marty comes in the house, Humphreys gets a treat. And he has learned that very well. I'm pretty excited because we've got some good results on my blood work, and so there's quite a bit there's a few things that aren't quite right, but there's a lot of stuff that actually is right. And so I'm pretty pleased about that. Keep working towards better health, if I can. You know, eventually my liver's going to kill me, but that's not today or tomorrow. And my liver specialist is really happy with the way that my blood work looks. We both know that my liver is still cirrhotic from everything else that's going on in the body, but it's looking good, and I've lost a little bit of weight, which is like, yes, because that is pretty difficult. But I'm just excited to get the good news, and I have been working up a storm, and I really like this pattern. Fairly easy to follow, which is why I picked it to have while I was having my live. I've kind of changed positions, and I picked you guys up a little bit. I'm kind of trying out different things to see how it's going to look. I know my background is very messy, but that's just kind of part of my life. Nobody's perfect, and sometimes finding imperfection, you know, that shows you that it's the diamond and not the glass. Okay, so I've done that one. I've done that one. Okay. Let's see. Do you guys have any projects that you guys are working on and excited about? Oh, that bag from last week, I'm almost done with it. Well, kind of. I need to get what I'm going to use for the lining of the bag and get it sewn in. But other than that, it's pretty much ready to go. And it looks really good. I think that the just the colors work really well together. And if you haven't seen that, you can always go back and rewatch my lives. On Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, I release a weekly video that just started 2 weeks ago. So there's not that many videos there, but I am working on it. And I don't know what else. I have a miniature dachshund, and then my mom has a miniature dachshund and Chihuahua cross. We call them Chewini. Oh, you're doing embroidery? Oh, that is awesome. I took a small class on that and decided that that really was not for me. But that is awesome that you're doing that. One of my friends does cross stitch and embroidery, and some of the stuff that she comes up with is really, really pretty. Heck, most of it is, and I admire her because it's stuff that I couldn't do. I just don't have the I just don't think I have the attention span anymore to try and learn it. But it's awesome that you're doing that. Oh, by the way, you can always like and subscribe because I do my lives at 1 o'clock on Saturdays. And then, like I said, I release a video of doing something or talking about something on Wednesdays. My 2 previous ones, I spoke about the Woobles kits that I was given. And then last Wednesday, I was working on this shirt, and I finished it this morning. I thought it was going to take me quite a bit longer to actually finish it. However, it turned out really nice, and I'm really excited to get to wear it this summer. Definitely not a shirt that I would wear outside right now. Even underneath a couple of layers, I wouldn't wear it. But that's what my sweaters and stuff are for. What else? Do you have any dogs or cats or rabbits or chinchillas? Thank you. I used to have rabbits. What else did we have? I took care of rats for a while. I decided that was definitely not for me. We've had cats, but definitely dogs are my favorites. Let's see here. So my mom also crochets, and she is so close to being done with her tequila sunrise sweater. I'm hoping that I get some pictures of it and get that posted like on Instagram. She has done such a good job on that. She just has knocked it out of the park. What else? I don't know where you guys are at, or if you guys are even getting snow right now. We have blizzarding conditions right now. Um, but that should be moving on soon. Kind of odd because we live in the kind of in a bowl, and the weather usually just kind of skirts around us. We usually don't get as much as like Denver does. But we've been getting some weather this year, which is nice. We need more moisture, like for the underground aquifers and for the rivers and the lakes and everything else. But we'll see what Mother Nature has in store for us, because you never know. Um, the super volcano up at Yellowstone could go whenever it wants. And at least I live close enough that if it went, I wouldn't be around very long. Because it's Yellowstone really is not that far away from where we live. And I don't know if you know this, but Yellowstone is always changing because the tectonic plates are constantly moving, and Yellowstone is moving, I think they said like 20 centimeters a year. And it's moving, I think, south and east is what they said. Like the big crater where the volcano is, it keeps slowly moving. And that's probably why like Old Faithful kind of started shooting off at weird times, or not shooting off at all. And, why some of the hot pools have moved. It's just interesting. I've been to Yellowstone a couple of times. I think it's more fun for me because I live in this area to go to places like Natural Bridge, or up to Douglas, outside of Douglas. Our family had a ranch out there for a while, or going over to Laramie, or going down to Fort Collins. I love living in town, and I will never live out in the country. I don't do well with snakes. They scare the snot out of me. And realistically, where we live in town, we live almost kind of in the center part of town. And so we don't get snakes. We used to get a lot of rabbits, but now we don't get a whole lot of rabbits. But I think that's because our neighborhood has a bunch of cats. We get a lot of squirrels and we get a lot of birds because they like to live in our giant pine tree. That darn thing is over 100 feet tall. And it is, oh, it's so messy. I wish we could just like pick it up and transplant it somewhere else. But I know that that's not an option. I mean, it's a really old tree, but it's in really good condition. We had tree people come out and look at it, I think last year. And they were really surprised because a lot of other trees that are similar aged aren't as big as that one. And they're not in as good condition and they really need to come down. And ours is in awesome condition. It just makes a lot of mess because the sap goes everywhere and the pine needles go everywhere. And so they get in the house and on your clothes and, you know, the dogs drag them in and they come in on your shoes. And sometimes you don't even realize because you touch something outside and then all of a sudden you got sticky sap on your hands. And that's one thing that I don't like about this house. But I told Grandma when I was a little kid, many, many times that when I grew up, I was going to live in her house. Be careful what you wish for. No, it's a nice place to live. I just am not thrilled about the pine tree. Because it makes a mess. So in the summertime, it does not give like a whole lot of shade. So we usually spend when we're outside, we have a big like umbrella that we'll sit under, or we can sit on the north side of the house once the sun has kind of moved over to like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We have a pretty nice backyard and a large front yard. And it's just a nice place to live. And it's been a house in my family that we've had my entire life. Grandma and Papa bought it in 1975, which was a heck of a long time ago. But my grandfather was one of those people that when he knew he upset his wife, he would, you know, do kind of a grand gesture to make it better. And yeah, my grandmother was one of those people that could hold a grudge. And it wasn't that they didn't love each other, but whew, she could sure hold a grudge. And sometimes he'd just, you know, be like, okay, Pat, I'm done. And he would, you know, he'd just stop listening to her. Yeah. I don't know. Spiders aren't so bad. The box elders around here, I really don't like, and snakes. But other than that, and I don't like rats aren't a big bad thing. It's just I've decided I didn't want to take care of them because of the way the smell and stuff. Plus, now my dog would want to sniff them. Like he wouldn't hurt them, but he would want to sniff them all the time. And that might scare the bejeebies out of them. And I wouldn't want to do that. So, yeah. But my grandfather was always a quiet man. And he quit his job to take me to school. Basically, he took an early buyout because he was a Greyhound driver. And they had an early retirement buyout thing. And so he took that. and became my chauffeur. Um, and, you know, if you were looking for me, you had to find him because that's where I was. Um, I went everywhere with him. Mainly because, like, even when I was a baby, he was the one that took care of me, like, during the daytime. Okay, let's see here. Um, he was the one that was home during the daytime, and so I'd be up most of the night, and then I'd sleep during the daytime with him. And then he quit his job to take me to, well, that's what I'd always say was he quit his job to take me to kindergarten. Um, but yeah, he was to me a special person. Um, and a lot of people would recount about, you know, like how quiet he was. And, you know, if you ever needed something, he was there to do it for you. And that was just kind of who he was. And I think part of that was because his father had really bad schizophrenia. And so he became the person that helped his mom cope because his mom didn't cope very well with it. And his younger brother, um, I don't know, didn't seem to um, be as involved with that, at least when he was younger. Um, and that woman, Great Grandma McKelvey, is actually the one that taught me to crochet. She was something else. She was a school teacher on the plains. And when she first started as a school teacher, she had to have someone escort her to and from school. She couldn't just, you know, get on a horse and ride to the school where she was teaching. No, she had to have someone actually take her there in a buggy and then bring her home at the end of the day. And then later on, after she got married, she worked as a school teacher in Casper and was a very devout Protestant. And she was something else. Like she'd get angry with you and she'd pinch you. And she would even do that to school kids. I think she retired before, you know, the laws changed and you couldn't do that to kids at school. I couldn't imagine her being a teacher to kids. She was always so mean and grumpy. But her favorite person in the whole wide world was my grandfather. And he was my favorite person. And so she and I ended up seeing a lot of each other. A lot. Um, and, you know, she was really kind to teach me how to crochet because she didn't have to. But I think I probably bugged the bejeebies out of her because I wanted to learn how to crochet. And I wanted to make things. And I wasn't always the easiest kid to redirect. I grew up around adults instead of around like kids. And so I was very much, I knew what I wanted and I knew how to get it. At least from the adults that I spent time with. And I think that also irritated my grandma because my grandmother was very, very strong. And her personality was kind of flowed over everybody else. And you either went along with it or you got the hay out of the way. Let's see here. Oh, okay, that's what I did wrong. So my family's kind of odd, but we're fun. We play cards. Um, although I don't think we're going to be doing the family reunions anymore. Grandma was a big part of doing the family reunions. And since she's gone, it just has not happened since then. And, a big part of that was grandma was, you did it her way or you got out of the way. And now that, there's not a leader to say, hey, we need to do this and we need to do it this day and this time at this place. It's just, people just aren't willing to step up. But then again, most of the people that might have stepped up are like my mom's age. They're in their 60s and 70s. And that's just not something that they want to deal with. And, I don't blame them, because it's a lot of work to be able to put on a family reunion with, where you're going to house everybody and how are you going to do all the food. Yeah. My grandmother really was a go-getter, though. She could irritate the heck out of people, but she was definitely a big time go-getter. My mom's always been kind of a not kind of, she's always been very, very conscientious of how other people feel and, what works for them or doesn't work for them. And I think that comes from her having to deal with grandma, because she's definitely the one that grandma liked the best, but also verbally beat up the most on, which was hard. Because grandma lived for 23 years past Papa, and she didn't think that she would outlive him. And then when she did, I think her world just kind of crumbled, because she left her mother and father's house to move in with my grandfather after they got married. And so she'd never lived on her own. She'd never, it wasn't that she hadn't paid bills, but she didn't have to, there's a lot of stuff that Papa did around the house. And, he would just take care of stuff. He wouldn't talk about it. And so, after he passed, there was so much that grandma had to figure out or try to figure out. And in the end, she a lot of that stuff she put on mom and had mom do, because she just didn't have the gumption to do it herself. And mom, being mom, would always say yes and do whatever needed to be done to help grandma. But she does the same thing for me. If I ask for something, she jumps up and gets it for me right away, even when I tell her she doesn't have to, or that, no is a perfectly viable answer. Like when I ask questions and stuff, she still is very attentive to my needs. So I try to make sure that, she's getting her needs met too, because a lot of times she forgets about herself. And in some ways that kind of worries me, but in other ways, I know that it's just important to make sure that mom gets what she needs. And when I can, I try to get things for her that I know she's not willing to get for herself, but that she, really could use, or that she really wants. Because to me, it's important for her to be happy, and for her to have her own identity and not have to be stuck being my carer or my nurse, and my driver and all that kind of stuff. That she has time to go do things for herself and be happy, because I really do want my mom to be happy. Like, we both know that my diagnosis is not good, but the other side of the coin is she shouldn't have to be the one taking care of me all the time. She needs to be able to have time to do things she wants to do. So this is what the head looks like without the legs. This is what it looks like with the legs. So I'm going to work on the legs real quick. I like it because you don't have to stuff the legs, which makes it go faster when I can count, which some days it's questionable if I can count. Let's see here. I have my phone up here because I'm using the pattern. And like I said, I don't have it memorized. I do like this pattern though. And I like watching Crochet Vision because oftentimes she has her sometimes on her lives. Well, she does two things. Either she's crocheting her plushies, or she is using the knitting machine to make oh, Jamie, use your brain, to make ear warmers. And I think sometimes she makes hats, although lately I've seen her making ear warmers. What else? I like watching Passionate Kelsey on her lives too, and on her regular videos. I love watching Mandy Von Knits. She's awesome. And then Ruth Loves to Knit. What else? Blondie Knots. Yeah. I like watching a lot of people. Probably because I'm up in the middle of the night a lot. And that to me is a good time to go back and watch lives that I missed. Because then it's quiet in the house and I'm not bugging anybody else by watching something that they don't want to listen to. And poor Humphreys, he has to come out in the living room with me when I get up. I don't tell him he has to, but he gets up and he comes out. He's definitely very protective over both mom and I. He's also protective over Bella, our other dog. Yeah, my mom's the same way. But I want her to have a life outside of taking care of me, outside of being the head of the household and all the other stuff that she does. I want her to have a life and do the things that she wants to do. And if she wants to go skinny dipping, more power to her. I just wouldn't do it in the snow, but that's just me. But yeah, I definitely worry about her not doing stuff for herself. Not going to the doctor, or there's so many things. Like, she's been putting off a surgery, mainly because I can't drive. And so she wouldn't be able to drive, I think, for like 6 weeks. And that would mean we would be leaning on other people to help get both of us to our doctor appointments. And she just doesn't want to do that. And, I understand, but the other side of the coin is that she needs to take care of herself. She needs to do things for herself. She needs to be able to experience being an adult without having someone tell you what you have to do all the time or where you have to be. My grandma liked to control everything. And my mom is a lot like my papa. They just would not argue with her most of the time. And I, on the other hand, argued with grandma a lot. And it wasn't that we didn't love each other, but we both were kind of hard-headed. And I wanted her to leave papa and mom alone. And she felt like, being in charge was her job, and they were supposed to listen to her. So, yeah. And mom she's so funny. She's quiet. And she doesn't talk a lot, but she joined the Nurse Honor Guard because my mom is a retired nurse. And the Nurse Honor Guard goes around to different funerals for nurses or doctors or other people in the medical field. And at the funerals, they do little ceremonies to honor the person that passed. And she really, really enjoys that. Even though being up in front of a big crowd of people is not fun to her, doing the Nurse Honor Guard thing, she just really enjoys, which I'm glad, because she needs to have stuff that makes her happy. And then I have a cousin who unfortunately lost her husband earlier last year. But I think maybe she's finally kind of coming out of that depression, because it was really, really hard on her and her daughters. And but I think that maybe she's coming out of that. And I'm just so happy for her. I want her to have the best in life. Unfortunately, she was the one that found her husband, and he was deceased. And he was not. It was just a really bad situation. But it sounds like she's starting to kind of move on and, doing therapy, and she and the girls are doing really well. And it sounds like she may have a new beau. And I know that my aunt is really upset about that. But, as long as she's happy and the girls are happy and, they're not being hurt or something, life continues to move on. And sometimes I kind of think my aunt doesn't have a place to talk, because after her second husband passed, she jumped back into the marriage ring very, very quickly. And that was not a good fit. But I think she felt like she really needed someone to take care of her. And then after she got out of that marriage, she told me that she wouldn't get married again. But Several months later, she came to have lunch with us, and she basically told us that she was getting married again. And I really had a hard time with that because I felt like she had lied to me, and that this guy was taking her away, because I'm pretty close with my aunt. And the more that I get to know, um, I'm never going to be bosom buddies with him, but he's an okay guy. Um, but my aunt gets upset at my cousin because my cousin is, trying to move on. And that's what my aunt did. And it's like, I just want both of them to be happy. And, I think my aunt finally found happiness with her latest husband. And knock on wood, this is the last one, I hope. Because I don't think we can go through this again. But I'm just happy for my cousin and her, her daughters. I think are happy as well. They're doing well at school, and one is doing the drama program, and she tried out for a musical, and I think that she got a part. I think, but it's like they've come back to life, because after my cousin's husband passed, it was a very traumatic experience for all of them. And the girls had to be pulled out of school because it was very quickly all over school what had happened, small town, everybody talks. And so the girls did not thankfully find out by the grapevine, but the grapevine was moving very quickly, and they got the girls out so that they could hear what happened from their mom and from family. I think she is, and I think the girls are too. I just want them to be happy and find joy, because life is hard enough. We don't need to. I just feel like we don't need to make things harder on each other. But yeah, I'm so glad that it seems like they're, starting to move on with life. Um, yeah. And I'm very happy that my mom is who she is, because as a nurse, she recognized how sick I was getting the first time I got really sick with ulcerative colitis. Um, and she's the one that made me go to the hospital, because if she hadn't made me go to the hospital, I wouldn't have gone. And I probably would have passed that night because I was very sick. Um, and so my mom is, really truly my angel. And I think that my aunt kind of feels the same way about my mom. Because mom is just one of those people, she takes care of us. Um, but yeah, let's see. I don't want to sew the feet on just yet, but I do have the feet done for this frog. So I'm going to set this frog down here so that I can finish him later. And I think I'm going to make a brown one. I kind of have to laugh because my youngest cousin is the smartest of the three of us cousins. My middle cut, her older brother, the middle cousin, is the probably most dependable out of us. And then I'm the house hobbit, um, which works out well for me and my knitting and crocheting. Um, I used to work for a nonprofit. I just recently had to stop working there. And they said that I could come back, but like with everything that's going on with my health, I know I can't. So let's see here. But I really enjoyed working there. And the nonprofit works towards helping families with children that have extra needs in school or at home. And it really is an awesome, awesome local charity, local nonprofit. Um, I don't like to say charity, but they work over there so hard for these kids and these families to make sure that they get what they need, what they're afforded by the law. Um, because a lot of times that doesn't happen right now. And I don't think that it's necessarily like someone being mean or stingy or anything like that. It's just that, a lot of these teachers and, administrators, they're overwhelmed, they're overworked, they're underpaid. And, you know, everyone deserves a livable wage, and they deserve a job, where they're not, where you get to use your skills, but you're not overtaxed. But being in a small community, that doesn't always, it doesn't work out like that most of the time. So, but I really liked working at Uplift. They're just awesome. And being able to be a part of that part of that organization, and be able to say that I get to help what they do is just phenomenal to me. I really, really enjoyed working there. But it was time to go. And Mom and I talked about it, and it was hard to tell my boss that I was not going to be coming back this year, but it worked out very well in the long run, because then they didn't have to pay me extra for certain hours, because we agreed that my last day was in December, because that really was the last day that I had worked. The board very kindly gave me basically what amounts to bonus. But yeah, I'll miss them, and they may miss me, they may forget about me, but that's okay. It just is a really good organization in my town. And it's hopefully going to be around for a very long time. All right, would you like to come up? Come on. Can you get up? Sorry, Humphreys wanted to come up. I guess Marty went home, so now I'm no longer chopped celery. Now I'm veal or something. Mom came to join me. She's working on her tequila sunrise cardigan, and I am very excited to see it when it finally gets done. I think it's going to be awesome. Does anybody watch Ryan Hall, y'all? We do, and that's kind of one of the ways that we get our weather is from him. We also watch the local. Mom watches the local news and the local weather, but we also watch Ryan Holiall. He's interesting on YouTube. And then he has a Ryan Holiall extra channel, which has like a bot and Doppler, and so you can get your weather and stuff 24 hours a day. I think that's pretty cool. But like I said, this pattern works up pretty quickly, and it's pretty easy. It's made for like Bernat blanket or other like bulky, super bulky yarns. My brain has forgotten what the other ones are called, but you can get them from like several different retailers: Joann's, Michael's, Yarn Inspirations, Walmart. I think even Hobby, Hobbi. Can't remember if they're in Denmark or in Turkey, but I think that they also have some yarns that would work. I'm just using up what we have in our yarn stash. And this isn't even half of it. I have a ton of yarn downstairs that I'm slowly working my way through. Mainly because I bought yarn on clearance and discounts, and we got yarn off of Facebook before. I've bought yarn at secondhand stores. So I have a lot, and I want to make sure that it's not more than I can use before I die. So my plan is to keep working through it. I have to laugh because I have my our TV over here, kind of behind you, I have it on watching the live, and Tisters, Bella, the little dog, she's sitting there watching me on TV, like wave my hand and move. when when I let the TV go to the it kind of goes into a sleep mode. It shows different photos and stuff. And Humphreys will watch that because there's pictures of him on there and pictures of my other dog that passed in October. And he will like literally sit there and watch TV. He also likes watching Cruft's dog show over in England, and he likes watching the AKC shows and stuff. He likes watching other dogs, and he likes watching sheep and cows. He's very aware of what's on TV a lot of times. Although right now it's nap time. Whoop, counted wrong when I first went around. So I don't know. I tend to do a lot of crafting and working on different items with Humphreys. He likes to sit with me, which is nice because my other dog, Watson, would sit with me all the time. And Humphreys wouldn't, but now that Watson has passed, Humphreys is my good little boy, and he comes and sits with me. He's the baby of the family, aren't you, Humphreys? Um, he's also the protector, and he lets us know when stuff is going on outside. Oh, my clip is coming out. Yeah. Let's see here. It's definitely cold though, because the dogs are really liking being underneath the blankies. And we have my mom's mini African violets, which are directly behind you. And I've posted pictures of them before. They are doing awesome. They have these really pretty kind of pinkish purple glow lights that match my fairy lights. So they make me happy when they click on, because they're on an automated timer thing. And so in the mornings they'll click on, and then at nighttime they click off. I don't know about you guys, but it is definitely soup weather for me around here. I made myself some split pea soup, and that is really good. I'm almost done with it. And then I'm going to make vegetable and ham soup, because I'm really digging having soups right now. I'm not a chili person, so having soups and stews works better for me. I don't have to venture out into the snow until Tuesday. Thank goodness. So I plan on staying home and staying warm. Yeah, it was hard. Sorry about the knot. That's always frustrating when you come across a knot, or, have issues with knots. I'm going to be honest. A lot of times I just cut them out when I'm working with my yarns, because they're put in by the manufacturer. And it's just part of the manufacturing process. But it's sometimes kind of frustrating. But yarn breaks, and the tension that it's under, like even when they're making threads and stuff, and they're spooling it up, the tension that is under is pretty strong. I got to go to a good deal. I'm glad you won. I got to go to a wool mill and see how it's processed to make different yarns and threads and stuff. It was really cool. We live fairly close to that mill. It's over in Mitchell, Nebraska, which for us isn't very far away. It's only about an hour and a half. Of course, like around here, you kind of get used to driving to things, because everything is all spread out through little towns. which sometimes that's nice and sometimes it can be kind of frustrating because it's not like we can just jump in the car and run over to because it's called Brown Sheep Company, and it's an awesome place to go see. But it's far enough away that you can't just jump up and go. Um, but it was really fun to see how they manufacture the yarns and the threads and stuff, and how that all goes through the machines, because it's all running very, very fast and under a lot of tension. And so it's not uncommon for things to snap, or like a cone runs out and so they have to start a new cone. Um, but it was really interesting to see how everything is basically how it's refined into what they want it to be. So at the start of the process, when they're getting ready to turn the roving into whether it's thread or different sizes of yarn, they have to know what size of thread or yarn they're creating, and they have to know at the very beginning, because that dictates what rollers and everything are used. And so it's really interesting. If you get a chance to go to a mill, I would go. It's fun. The other fun thing is after we go to the mill, then we get to go visit my Aunt Susie on the way home, which is nice. She doesn't live that far away. She only lives like an hour and 20 minutes away. Yes, yes, it was very cool to be on the floor and watching them make everything. And like the dyeing process, like it was all really interesting. And when they make a mistake, then you get an oopsie batch. And that's what this is. It's really thick. It's a super bulky. I'm making a coat out of it. It may take me a while to finish that coat, but I am making a coat out of it. But basically, it's sold as a one of a kind. And of course, if you buy it in store, it's less expensive. Like, I like going over there to the mill. Hi, Humpy. Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoy making the plushies because it's something that you do it and you get it done fairly quickly. And so it helps you to feel more productive. The other thing that I've been working on are market bags. This one is still in process. But yeah, I've been having fun doing what I like to do, to be honest. I like being productive and just getting stuff done. But I've also like bought a couple of patterns that I really like. Um, I waited until like some of the designers that I like were having sales, and then I bought stuff. So that's always fun when I get to, try out different things. I'm notorious when I'm knitting and sometimes when I'm crocheting to not follow the pattern. And it's not that I can't follow the pattern, I just tend to kind of go off on my own and do my own thing. But doing like the plushies and the bags and stuff, following the pattern, is very easy, and B is something that I can do fairly quickly. Because right now being productive is pretty important for me, especially since there's really not a lot of sunshine, and there's not a lot of other stuff going on. I'm making all the plushies and market bags and different clothing items and stuff because I plan on having a kind of doing a long sale over the summertime. We live on a really busy street. It's one of the main streets in town. And I think I can just throw out my sign and my tables and stuff and just be in my own front yard. And people will stop by. They always do. Like, you don't have to advertise like in like a newspaper or classifieds or anything, because all we have to do, excuse me, all we have to do is put out our sign. And I think that it will be something that I will enjoy, hopefully this summer. Last summer was pretty hard, but I think that this summer should be better for all of us. Yeah. And the thing is we have something called Cheyenne Frontier Days in July. And it's basically 2 weeks of people coming in from all over the state and all over the country, in Canada and Mexico and Peru and other places. And a lot of times to get to the park, you have to go up our street. You go up our street. And so I really think that just setting up tables and being out there, people will drive by and they will see it and they'll stop. Because like that's what's happened when we've sold stuff before. So I'm excited about it. And we'll see how it goes, because you never know. It may not go well for me at all, or it may do just fine. It's nice though because we're already zoned for business where we live, so I think it'll work out pretty well. Times 3. Okay. Let's see here. I got confused. That's where I meant. Bye bye, Humphreys. He's gone off for greener pastures. He's going to go sit with mom, which is perfectly fine. I tease him about, loving her more than me, but she has a couch with blankies. Do 3 of those. Mom and I both have the Bowtie pillows, and they work really, really well. Not sponsored. We bought ours. But I really do enjoy it. They're kind of expensive, but it really is helpful for lots of different types of body pain because it helps you sit better. And not like slouch. Plus, you have a place to rest your arms. So your shoulders aren't, your earrings. Okay. Yeah, I do that a lot, which is why I usually use the Bowtie pillow. It helps me stay upright and be in a better, like, ergonomic position. Okay. This is kind of my favorite round because you're making the eyes and you're doing a like a popcorn stitch. Which kind of just breaks up the monotony of um, all the single crochets that you do in the body. My turtle. Okay. Well, we are almost at an hour and a half. And I believe that we're getting close to the dogs wanting to eat and go outside. So thank you all for coming and spending this time with me. And I hope that you have a great day. Please remember that you are wanted, you're needed, you're loved. Be kind to everyone, including yourself. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.